Let's go ahead and get this party started. Thank you guys so much for joining our Pep Talk. It's a webinar about all about peptides and the RX longevity tools that Le-Vel RX has to offer. We really appreciate you guys tuning in and being here with us. We also really hope to answer a lot of your questions that you have. You're welcome to put your questions in the chat because we can't have a live Q&A session because we could be on here for 3 hours. Maybe we should do one of those. We'll make it like a little bit longer of a webinar, but to respect your time and get a really good recording, we will be watching the chat though. So we'll kind of weave your questions into the webinar as we see them. But if we can't get to all your questions, please reach out to the person who invited you to this webinar. They can plug you into find the right answers or direct you to a clinician or the doctor provider in your area to get those questions answered. So who's ready to roll? Are you ready to learn a little bit more about the peptides and longevity tools? All right, let's get this party started. So first things first, I'll do a couple of introductions. My name is Laura Wells, in case we haven't met yet. I am a Le-Vel brand promoter and have been with Le-Vel Brands since December of 2015. So very excited. And my dear friend Elise here, who is totally going to share a lot of information with you all tonight. She's actually one of my dearest friends. We've known each other for close to 20 years now. We met when our kids were toddlers, and they're full grown now in their 20s, and it's wild. She's actually one that introduced me to Le-Vel Brands and the Thrive experience. And after I ignored her for quite some time and thought that I was doing all the right things, I was about 75 pounds overweight. I had brain fog, I had low energy, I had achy joints and all the things. And meanwhile, I was telling her, probably one of the healthiest people that I know in real life, no, I'm fine. I don't need that stuff. And she's a dear friend, so she hung with me for a little while I ignored her. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that story. But she is now she is a functional medicine practitioner after battling her own chronic illnesses for quite some time. She's brilliant. She's also a level 3 integrative health practitioner. She's also a hormone and detox coach. And her husband, Rob, also has lots of brains. Like they're like the dynamic duo here, power couple. Rob is her husband, and he is not only a functional medicine practitioner, he's also a physician assistant. He has a clinic out there in Montana where he works with men in real life, face to face, and online as well in his practice. And so I've asked them to come on to share a little bit more about the peptides and longevity wellness tools and talk to you a little bit more about the sciencey side of things, because I know a lot of y'all have questions about that. So we'll go ahead and jump right into the webinar. I kind of want to start there and tell you guys kind of like why this makes sense combined, where you see Le-Vel Brands and they've been made famous because of the Thrive Experience product line. We are focused on nutritional health and wellness, filling nutritional gaps. We have a whole assortment of products truly for everybody. And it makes perfect sense where holistic nutrition that grew this company over the last almost 14 years and nearly $4 billion in sales. Now they're doing a handshake with modern wellness tools, and that is where Le-Vel RX comes into play. So I want to kind of hand this over to Rob and Elise for this slide, because these are actually the two most common questions that we do get is like, what's the difference between peptides and longevity therapies? And like, why does it have to be a prescription? So Rob or Elise, y'all can take it from here.
Go ahead, honey.
Elise.
I said, go ahead.
So basically, I mean, if you understand what a peptide is, it might help it to make a little more sense. A peptide is just a chain of amino acids. So if you take amino acids, which are tiny little constituent molecules of proteins, they're the smallest, dissolvable, metabolizable piece of proteins. And you can take those as building blocks, Legos essentially, and you can turn them into bigger chains of proteins. And those proteins will have potentially different effects. Peptides in particular are just that. They are just chains of proteins. The longevity therapies differ in that they're actually different molecules. They're not necessarily peptides, although they have similar effects. Not necessarily in what they do, but just that they are able to affect target tissues. They're a molecule that when it's taken, whether that's by mouth, nasal spray, by injection, whatever method you take them. They will have an effect on certain body tissues. They're targeted. In that way, both peptides and longevity therapies are similar to medications. But I guess what I would say maybe they differ is the longevity therapies typically are things that our body produces already on their own, and we're able to take them in greater amounts. And that's similar with peptides. When you compare both of those to pharmaceuticals are typically made from petroleum byproducts, and they are not natural in overwhelming majority of the cases. And so these are more of a natural alternative, and that's something that's really attracted Elise and I.
It's pretty awesome that I don't know, science is really cool. Science is cool, especially when you can combine it with natural health, which is what we're doing. And like basically enhancing the body's natural tendency, natural design, and just enhancing that and making it better. To me, it's kind of like putting super fuel into an engine. I mean, that's, and to bounce off of that, I shared how the Thrive experience, I mean, has been around since 2012 with the nutritional products. And I mean, I've personally lost 60 pounds on just the Thrive products alone before I ever introduced any kind of peptide or longevity therapy into my system that was purely just on the Thrive experience and willpower. That was it, just getting my head in the game. And so now that I'm adding in these prescriptions, I'm blown away, honestly. The results are even better. So I'm very excited. So there's a lot to choose from. I love, uh-oh, let me see. I need to probably mute somebody. Oh no. And I don't see who that is to mute. Lisa, muting Lisa. Okie dokie. Sorry about that. So I like to show this slide because I know it can be slightly overwhelming with so many different options on the website. And I want to show you this kind of at a glance. So also on the website, the person that referred you, there's a little plus symbol next to each one of these medications, and you can actually expand it to see the text here in green that shows you the description. But Rob and Elise, you can kind of quickly go over, obviously you don't have to go over all of them if you don't want to, but what the other most common question is how do I know if I've never done any of this stuff before? How would I even know what to start with? Like, how do I pick one that's right for me? I can see the descriptions, but some of them kind of sound similar. How would I know if which one is like the one I should start with?
Yeah, I think that, the answer to this, it comes down to two things. Number one, what's your stated goal, right? What's the main thing that you're trying to do? Is it to lose weight? Is it to have more energy, to have, better skin, to detox your body? I mean, you can read all the bullet points but below each one of the products, and it'll give you an idea of, what they do in general. But you're right, a lot of them overlap. So part two, of my answer would be, this is where you get on the phone with one of the medical providers, and they can go through your medical history. They can assess what your needs are, and they can tell you, well, based on what you're telling me, based on what I'm seeing, based on what meds you're on, what you've tried before, I think that, product X would be the best thing for you to help you achieve your goals.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. I mean, because with Le-Vel RX, there is the ability to talk to, like actually speak to a medical provider that's assigned to you. They do operate, right now they're in the United States only. They are in 50 states, and there's over 20,000 physicians that are available. So when I did mine, I actually got assigned to one that was in my state, which is in South Carolina. And what was really impressive to me is that, and you'll find this out a little bit later, there's no charge. You can just say, hey, I want to talk to somebody and have a consultation, or I need a follow-up, or I've got questions, and they don't charge you for that at all. So definitely take advantage of it. It's all included. So Rob, what would you say if somebody's saying, I'm at my goal weight, but I want to, let's just say hypothetically, okay? It's not me at all, but hypothetically speaking, let's just say somebody's approaching 50 and they've done a really good job losing some weight. And they're just now starting to lift weights, but they still get sore because they're a new person, hypothetically speaking. And they don't want to lose more weight per se, but they would like to trim some body fat and retain muscle. Let's just say hypothetically. Which one would be a good one on this page that would be best for them to explore more?
On this page, I mean, so I've recommended all these different options for people. These are things that we utilize in my medical clinic. I would tell you probably the most potent or powerful of these options would be Sermorelin, fourth from the left. It's an injectable peptide, and that's one that it's really easy for me to recommend. I've used it myself, but I've got literally dozens and dozens and dozens of patients who have used it. Never had any side effects. It works great. Generally needs to be taken for 2 or 3 months. But yeah, it does exactly what you're describing. So for people who are either trying to lose weight or they're trying not to lose muscle. This is a great way to basically boost your growth hormone. Growth hormone is going to help you to preferentially burn body fat while preserving muscle mass. So it's great if you're on a diet. It's great if you're using, the GLP medications or like the lipo-C or not lipo-C, excuse me, L-carnitine on the far right, which is another thing that's used for weight loss. Um, there's a host of different benefits, but that's one that I would probably go to. Another Laura that I would say we should talk about tonight is the new creatine that Le-Vel is going to be launching with HMB.
Yeah, I didn't even include that on here. But and that won't be for prescription, right?
No.
That'll be just yeah, I'm really excited for that one to launch. Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. Well, briefly, let's do it. So creatine is a molecule. It's another peptide, essentially. It's 3 amino acids. And basically it has effects that help you have more energy. So first of all, so especially for people who are working out, using weights, they're sprinting, they're doing high intensity exercise. That's where you're really going to see the benefits, but it also is going to help people to maintain or gain weight from muscle mass. So it does if you're really scale conscious, you might notice there's a little bump up in your body weight on the scale, but typically that's either going to be due to muscle mass or just water. It can help you, or it can cause you, I should say, to retain a little bit of water. Um, and so when it's mixed with HMB, which is hydroxymethylbutyrate, which is another amino acid sequence, basically what HMB does is it helps you prevent muscle breakdown. So similar to like Sermorelin, this can help you to prevent muscle breakdown while also giving you more energy for your workouts because what creatine essentially does is it donates a phosphate group. This is science geek stuff, but gives you more ATP. ATP is the energy currency that our bodies use for every cell, every second of every day.
Nice. So when we talk about the Thrive stack later on, we should probably add that one to that. I should have like slid that little picture in there.
Yeah,
That would be good.
creatine's something I've literally taken since I was like 13 or 14. I'm 50 now, so 37 plus years. My parents are on it, Elise's parents are on it, our kids are on it. We take it every day. I mean,
Wow.
it's so important, and I recommend it for literally everybody who comes in the door.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. And again, that's going to be part of the Thrive Experience product line that will not require a prescription. That's not on the Le-Vel RX sign. That is coming soon. Like that product will drop any day now. So be sure to ask your promoter about that. So I'm very happy for hypothetically speaking, you said Sir Merlin because I just ordered that. Oh, my friend will be really excited. No, I'm just kidding. It's me. It's me. I know you guys all know it's me. Um, Elise, I want you to talk about because I know that for several years now, you've actually been taking some of these therapies yourself, a few of them or a couple of them. So, do you want to go ahead and talk about those and what you notice and maybe why you started taking those?
Sure. So back in 2018, when I had the mold illness and then chronic Lyme, my doctor at that time had me start peptides. And I've taken everything on this list at that point, but I did not take the Sermorelin or L-carnitine, but I did the others. And at some point, right? So I just picked my top three favorites, and that's what I'm doing currently. And I added Sermorelin because I'd heard Rob talking about it, and it sounded like that would be a great addition to glutathione and NAD+. So I'm doing those three. And it's really great for perimenopausal women having the brain fog, sleepless nights, irritability, anxiety. all the problems. Basically, it helps that stack of three, NAD plus, glutathione, and sermorelin help all support all of these systems in the body when we're seeing these symptoms when in perimenopause. I've also heard, I do not know because I haven't done it, but Laura can speak to it, that microdose tirzepatide can also really support perimenopause and menopausal women to help reduce inflammation and those markers that go along with it, and which helps you feel better overall. Now, I will say one of the benefits of the stack that I'm on, Sermorelin, is improved sleep at night. Because this is what I have learned in the last 8 years of having that chronic illness journey was sleep is so important to healing. It's so important to balancing hormones. It's so important to our brain health. If you have ADHD, it's incredibly important for your prefrontal cortex and the way that your body processes info or your brain processes information and doesn't get overwhelmed. So if any of you have noticed that, I'd like you to drop that in the comments. Has interrupted or poor sleep affected your quality of life? Yes or no? If you're looking for something that is very specific to support that, and you're not sure you want to do a GLP-1 um, prescription, maybe you should take a look at the Sermorelin. And again, you'll be going through a um, intake quiz, and you can request a consult with the doctor, and you can get real specific with them about what you're looking for. That will help you make your decision on which of these products. It's not like you're just thrown a menu and you have to pick. You get to share your health history. They even ask if you have MTHFR genetic defect, which I do. If you know that you have that, it's on that health intake form, and that helps your provider choose the best support for you.
Yeah, and I will say too, I mean, there are a lot of things like Peggy and I were actually having this conversation earlier today about our parents and grandparents who have had cognitive issues and health challenges relating to brain and memory and all of that. And that's definitely something on my mind, no pun intended. And so I have done a lot of looking into the impact of sleep. And, at first I got interested in sleep because of weight loss. I was thinking, well, like I know that affects weight loss. People who don't sleep at least 7 to 8 hours or more every single night have a much higher chance of being overweight and a much harder time losing it. And it just really can keep you stuck. And when I started prioritizing sleep, I mean, it's crazy how much easier things got.
Mhm.
And so the main interest for me for the Sermorelin, oh my gosh, I cannot pronounce it. Whatever, that one, was a big part of that was sleep. And also, of course, the fat loss and muscle and all of that. But when I saw it helps improve sleep, it sealed the deal for me. So yeah, a lot of your brain health revolves around you getting enough sleep,
Yeah,
you know?
something else to consider along that point is when you're sleeping is when you're actually producing growth hormone. And if you're poorly sleeping, you're not producing nearly as much growth hormone as you would be. And growth hormone is really one of the most potent anti-aging substances that our body produces. And then another side note, for my wife, I tried to get her to take Sermorelin for quite a long time because if you've ever met her in person, she's very thin and she has had GI issues for a long time that have made it difficult for her to eat. So for someone like that, maybe you know someone like that, maybe that's you. Taking a growth hormone peptide, again, it can help you to maintain muscle mass as you age when muscle is already in decline. And I think that that is hugely important because if we look at these different markers that cause people to age poorly, to lose their independence, to have falls, to have injuries, muscle mass is right up there. It's probably the number one thing that leads to the presence or absence of independence going forward.
So
Also,
what you're essentially saying is it'll make us hotter and prettier.
If you work
which
out
Interesting.
as well, yeah.
Which I have to share this quick story. Those of you who were on our Zoom this morning heard me share it. Lori, you did not, but I had two nurses staying at our Airstream Airbnb on our ranch this last 3 days. And last night we were all sitting talking on the porch, and they were like, okay, we just have to know how old you are. And I was like, okay, well, first off, how old are you guys? And they're like, we're 28. I said, okay, well, I'm 50. And they were both like, what? No. They were like, we thought you were 30, maybe 35. I was like, oh, stop it. You met my son. He's almost 22. They were like, I know the math didn't make sense, but you just look so young and fit, and your like hair and your skin is so incredible. And I was like, well, let me tell you about my products. Have you guys been looking for something for that? And they were like, both like, yes, whatever you're taking, we want it. Tell us exactly what it is. We're buying it.
It's that Thrive Glow, man. I'm telling you.
I know. And then they said to me that everyone they know is on a GLP. And at that point, I said, well, have you ever considered being an affiliate or representing something like that? And they were like, well, we didn't know that we could do that. And I said, well, you actually can with this, with my online store opportunity. And they were like, oh my gosh, tell me more about it. So here we have two nurses that not only do they want the wellness and longevity and the nutrition, they were really interested in the nutrition because of their 12-hour shifts, but they also want the business opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is a conversation that millions and millions of people are having worldwide right now. The more research that comes out, the less the fear and the stigmas stick. I was really afraid of all this stuff for a really long time. Basically, anything with a needle, I was afraid of until, more and more research made me realize that actually there's some really good things that can go on. There's some bad things, of course, too, that go on out there, but a lot of them are from improper sourcing, improper dosing, improper handling. And so those are the things that you don't have to worry about here. This is really top notch and very classy, very well done, above board. And I'm really proud of that. So let me go ahead and move to this next slide. I want to talk about this one for a little bit. A lot of people have been interested in the weight loss side of things for as far as peptides are concerned. We have a lot of different options here. Obviously, some of them are injections, some of them are not. So injections are not the only option that you have if you're looking for the weight loss peptides. They are, however, and Elise and Rob can probably speak more to that, but they are going to be more effective, obviously, because the ones that go through orally, for example, that has to bypass go through your digestive system, and obviously there's some filtering that goes on through there. So for me personally, I'll just share my own personal experience, and then they can add to it. Like I told you, I mean, I've lost over 60 pounds now with just the Thrive experience. For those of y'all inquiring minds, that's the Thrive Classic experience. That's actually how I lost the 65 pounds now. With the black or white label DFT, that's my go-to. I'll show you my stack here in just a couple slides. And I mean, I still have maybe 10-ish, that I want to lose more. Like I said, I'm building muscle. I am going to be 50 here in just a few months. So I want to tone up and lean out and all of that. I'm not tall like Elise, so my weight like is compressed. I always used to tell people I'm not overweight, I'm just under tall. Okay. Like I'm only 5'4". If I were Elise's height, I'd be like thin and beautiful with really long legs, but I'm not. So for me, I mean, I've got a little bit extra to lose, but the muscle, like what Rob was talking about, that longevity side of things is really important to me because of my family's health history. So I am choosing to microdose. I'm doing the microdose tirzepatide. That's the one on the far right side of this page. One of the things I really like about Le-Vel-Rx, and I actually saw this question in the chat, so I want to take this. Somebody asked if certain ones from the longevity side can be compounded in, like mixed in with a tirzepatide, for example. A couple things. The answer is yes. However, it can depend on your state. So just kind of keep that in mind. And some of the longevity tools cannot be mixed with other ones. So the provider can answer that question for you. So in my experience, I chose the microdose tirzepatide. I knew I wanted the tirzepatide. I knew I wanted the GLP-1 and the GIP. I wanted both the dual pathways combined. So that's the one that I clicked the button on the website to start my intake process for. And I went through the little 5-minute survey, got to where, you check out, you do all the things, and then you can request to talk to, right there on the survey, you can request to have a consultation with the provider. So I had my consultation literally a few hours later. It was so great. Had my video chat with her, and I was telling her all the other things that I was interested in that I wanted to add in later. And I mentioned NAD plus. And I was like, I love energy. Like, just give me all the energy. So, like, I love B12. Like, I want all the B things. I want all the energy. And she said, actually, we can add both of those into your microdose terzepatide vial. Would you like us to do that? And I'm like, well, how much extra is that going to be? She's like, no, it's no charge. We can just add it in. Now, it's
Mhm.
not a whole separate vial. It's not a whole full dose, obviously, a whole separate injection of it. But it was really neat that they literally, this is personalized to you. It's based on your health, your medical history, and your goals. It's customized to you. So I really, really love that. Elise and Rob, do you have anything to add to this specific slide about the weight loss ones?
I would just mention that if you look at the microdosed versus the standard dosing, it's basically I describe it like turning up a volume knob. Okay. You're going to have if you have a microdose, you're going to have the lowest risk or potential for side effects. Not saying you're going to have side effects, but lower dose, lower potential side effects. You're also going to have less potential appetite suppression and potentially less weight loss. Okay, so you can then add certain things like Mike B12 is one, L-carnitine. Those are things that I commonly have compounded in so that you're getting basically a synergistic effect along with a microdosed amount, or you can go straight to a bigger dose. And the bigger dose is going to potentially have more appetite suppression. It's going to potentially have more weight loss, but it's also going to potentially, for some people, have more side effects because when you're taking the GLP medications, they have a very strong satiating effect, meaning that they just blunt your appetite. And for some people, it's not super noticeable. For some people, it just feels like there's, some sort of static in their stomach. And I don't know how to better describe it, but a little bit of dis-ease. So the nice thing
Nausea
about
is how
the
you describe
microdose
it.
is you can bump that dose up over time till you get to the point where you're, having the desired weight loss effects and not having any side effects. What'd you say, Elise?
I said nausea is how you describe it.
Nausea.
If you take
Yeah.
too high of a dose. So here's my thoughts in my functional medicine background, and obviously I have not taken these GLP-1s, but I've worked with a lot of people who have over the years since these came out. And I will tell you, I do believe that starting low and slow is the best way to go. Also, from everyone I've worked with, I hear about the fewest side effects with tirzepatide, more side effects with semaglutide. So you can take that at face value for what I'm sharing it and make your own decision with your provider. But I would, like Rob said, also steer you towards if you do want to try a GLP, then go ahead with the microdose tirzepatide. Start there.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just from personal experience, I did take your advice on that to go low and slow, and I actually mentioned that to the provider. I was like,
Yeah.
"Listen, I mean, I'm not sensitive to anything, so you also have to kind of base it on, your experience as far as that goes. Like, I don't have sensitivities. I mean, I have an iron stomach. Okay, I don't get upset stomachs or anything like that. Thankfully for those kinds of things. But for me, microdosing tirzepatide, tomorrow will actually be my third dose, and I have had zero issues,
Yeah.
zero side
Awesome.
effects. And literally within the first, I want to say by the second day, right after, like literally day two, I noticed it was, and so for me, this is my own personal testimony. Okay. This is not medical advice. And a lot of you guys know this if you know me. I mean, I had an eating disorder ages back when I was a young, I mean, in middle school, high school, all of that. And so I have always had that rattle in my brain where it's food noise.
Yep.
And it's like having a TV on in the background with nothing but commercials for delicious food. I don't know how to describe it. It's like right when you wake up, you think of food. Right after you get done eating, you think of dessert. Like it's always the next thing. And I've had that my entire life, and it's just kind of like normal. The sky is blue, the grass is green. I have food noise. And day two, on even just the microdose, it was like a switch flipped off in my brain. It's so quiet. And I
Yeah.
don't know another way to describe it as just it's like freedom from that. I am in control now over what I eat. I still have treats. I mean, I still have cookies and like, fun things, but I don't need five of them, you know? And I'm in full control. I have full control over, no, I'm good. I don't want that. That never came out of my mouth before. So it's really true. It's freeing. So that's been my own personal experience with it, and having zero side effects. I've heard the same thing. Likewise, like you guys were sharing, I've actually also heard from people where tirzepatide, too high of a dose of tirzepatide made people feel, icky and whatever, and they just had to either lower the dose or actually switch. So, like from the regular dose to microdose. And so again, the reason I really like the way that Le-Vel is doing things is that you have 24/7 access to your provider. In fact, you can just log on and do the online chat and ask questions. And if it's something that the chat support can't answer for you, like basic questions, they can get you the very next appointment to talk to your provider, or you can email them, or you can call them on the phone. It's wonderful, and they don't charge anything for that, which I thought was really great. Okay, let me see
Okay.
if there's any questions. Pause here for a
There
second.
are a couple. So I'll read it to you. I've got them ready.
Okay.
Rob, what is the difference between tirzepatide from Le-Vel and what is prescribed like Mounjaro, which goes in milligrams?
I answered that in the chat.
Oh, well, can you answer it for everyone, please?
They're the same. Yeah. So Manjaro is just the patented molecule, basically. Okay. So it's like Advil and ibuprofen, right? So um, there was a shortage of these medications. The FDA allowed compounding pharmacies to make them. So essentially, they got the recipes, if you will, from the big pharma companies, and they were able to start producing them on their own. Um, Once you have that ability to start producing them, then you can start playing around with dosing, and you can start playing around with adding things like the different like the MIC-B12 and the L-carnitine and things. So really, there's no difference. It's just that typically what is patented is going to have it's going to come in either maybe like a dosing pen that's already set up and you cannot change the dose, or it's going to come in a specific format where the medication and the dose together are what makes it patented.
And often, if it's patented, it's a higher price.
Typically, but it's also potentially available to insurance.
Oh, sure.
So, and one of the things that my provider told me, because I asked this exact question, they were telling me that semaglutide and tirzepatide, that's the actual active ingredient you're buying. When you're buying those brands, that's what you're actually buying.
Yeah.
It's just with their
Right.
label on it,
One's the
like Rob
brand
was
name and
saying.
one's the generic name of like
Right. It's
the
just like you're buying the actual medicine, the actual ingredient versus all the patents and extra fluff. I don't know.
Yes.
I like Rob's explanation better.
So here's the next question. Julie says, I have PCOS, which we know is a metabolic disorder of the ovaries, and opted for the tirzepatide. I'm down 5.8 pounds so far, clap, clap, and no side
Woohoo.
effects at all. It has been a lifesaver. I was someone who was starving all the time and had no off switch when it came to eating. I never got full, and now no food noise, and my body says stop eating now. Honey, why would this GLP-1 slash GIP help with the PCOS symptoms?
I don't know the exact mechanism, honestly, but I guess what I would hazard a guess at would be probably the lack of inflammation. I'd be curious, maybe she could comment, Julie, back on the chat.
Mhm.
But yeah, these medications, tirzepatide specifically, can be very strong anti-inflammatory medications, and inflammation can wreak havoc with our hormones. So her hormones might be coming back into balance. Um, yeah, and then just the fact that it does have an effect on appetite and satiating you, losing weight, having excess body fat, and all the like aromatase and different enzymes that come with that. Those can cause your body to be in a disarray. But I would have to guess, and it's a guess that it's has to do with the inflammation in this case.
Well,
I want to say, I mean, I'm not a medical expert at all like
yeah.
y'all, but I would guess inflammation too, because I actually just saw an article this morning saying that there's been some research about the
Mhm.
tirzepatide, specifically the GLP-1 and GIP pathway one, with Alzheimer's and dementia,
Yeah.
and just how it affects the brain in terms of inflammation on the brain. So the science that's coming out is pretty, you guys, it's pretty incredible.
Mhm.
What were you going to
Now,
say,
okay,
Elise?
I got a little insight on the PCOS thing in tirzepatide. Ready? You're eating less, so therefore you're not spiking your blood sugar, which is not inducing insulin drop. So therefore the ovaries are not getting bombarded constantly. Okay, that is why it works.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's pretty incredible, you guys. And I mean, like I said, the process is so simple. I mean, this is truly, I feel like it's like having a VIP concierge service
Yes.
at no additional charge. You know, if you're wanting these medications and you want, I'm gonna say the good stuff, okay? I'm saying that you deserve better than going to some off-label gray market, China-produced Temu version, okay? Please don't do it. Like your health is worth it in the long haul to do it right, okay? So if you've already made your decision that you want to do it the right way or not at all, I commend you because that's the way I was gonna. I'm like, I'm not doing some kind of cheapo generic whatever. Um, and I really love the VIP feeling that you get when you go through Le-Vel RX. So I do kind of want to give you some of the like highlights of on this screen of what you'll experience. For me, and this may sound silly, is, you know, I like the fact that it's in discreet packaging. I don't want it to be like, here's your prescription weight loss medication. I don't know if you live in like a neighborhood or something. Just know that it does come shipped right to your door. It is in discreet packaging. You have complete privacy. You're also not paying for shipping. The price that you see on the website is literally all you pay. There are no fees. Even for the portal, even for the technology, even for the consultations, they don't charge any kind of membership fees. There's no like commitment fees. You don't have to commit to 3 months, although you save money if you commit to 3 months, but you don't have to. They do month to month at a time as well. Completely controllable in your back office too. But they don't charge anything for follow-ups, visits, even if your provider determines that you need some lab work done, let's just say, before they can approve you for the medication and you need to go get labs. It's free. It's included. They don't charge you for the labs. So I just really love also that these are board certified providers. And there's a lot of them. So you don't have to worry about, you know, does this person really know what they're talking about? Now, on that note, you are in control. If you get assigned to a provider who will be in your state and you just don't click with that provider, you can request a different one. It's totally your choice. And it's again, it's no additional charge to do that. So I really love that. That's really the Le-Vel RX difference here is that it really does feel just extra special, you know? Now, to go through this process, you do need a Le-Vel account. So you definitely need to reach back out to the person that invited you to this webinar. If you are a customer or you're a potential customer, you're kind of looking into this and you don't have an account yet, or maybe you forgot how to log in. You're like, I don't know, it's been like 5 years. Reach out to your promoter. They can look up your login information for you and get you set up with an account because that is the only way that you're going to be able to access Le-Vel RX is through your Le-Vel Brands account. From there, it's super, super easy. Like literally, this is the entire process. You just log in. You're gonna choose which one you think you want. So, like for me, I chose microdose tirzepatide. You need to choose something, pick something, because that's the where the button is gonna be, where it says you're gonna start your intake process. So you'll click that and you'll complete your health assessment. It takes like 5 minutes. It's super easy. On your health assessment, you will see in the middle of your screen here. I wonder if my cursor, yeah, right here, like where my cursor is. This is a page on the little 5 minute intake form. Please remember this part at the bottom here where it says, you know, I'm not sure about all my goals. I'd like to speak to somebody. I'd like to have a consultation. If you select that, you can select multiple. By the way, I selected all of these. Your girl
Mhm.
wants it all. Okay. I was like, just give me all the things. All these sound great. Why wouldn't I want all these things? Anyway, so the bottom button is really important so that you have the opportunity to talk to a provider instead of having to go, back and requesting one. Again, that's no additional charge. So once you complete all that, the provider reviews it. And for me, it was a few hours. I got the approval back, had my appointment with the provider. She was like, "You're good to go. Let's add a little bit of this, a little bit of that. How's that sound?" I was like, "You are amazeballs." And then literally 24 hours later, it was at my door. Now, it's not going to be that fast for everybody. Um, Depends on where you live, obviously, but it was very fast. It actually arrived at my door in a styrofoam container. Obviously, it depends the pharmacy that you're assigned to in your state. It also depends on the medication you're getting. Mine was shipped in a cardboard or a styrofoam container with refrigerated packs, like ice packs in it. Because mine needed to be refrigerated. It was delivered to my door, and then they follow up with you. Hey, did you get it? Did everything go okay? The process is so incredible, truly. But just make sure that you're going through that process accurately. And they do give you an online portal as well, so that if you do need labs or anything like that, they'll email you, "Hey, you need lab work." You could just take that lab order and go to the lab, obviously in your area, get that stuff done. Usually there's a QR code or whatever. And usually they send it back or email it to you, but there's also a place for you to upload it right there in your portal. It is so easy. Um, Elise and Rob, I'll pause here for a second so y'all can add any kind of commentary. We've got a couple slides of reviews of what people feel about the pricing on this one, which I love this screen because it's super fun, you guys, that I'm having so many friends who are like, this is cheaper. Like you expect it to be more expensive because it's kind of like a bougie service. And a lot of people are saving money by switching to Le-Vel RX, so that's even better. Anyway, you guys add whatever thoughts are on your mind, or we can answer questions.
Well, it's an economy of scale. So you have the potential buying power of a huge company like Le-Vel with all the people that they bring to the table. So they're able to negotiate very good prices. I can tell you from working with about 7 different pharmacies in my medical clinic, that these prices are excellent. They're generally cheaper than what we charge and what we can get stuff for. And I will say too that even though I had a hiccup with my own filling of a vial of Sermorelin, overall the feedback that I've gotten from just about everybody else, of course, it always happens to the medical provider, but everyone has told me it's been super quick, it's been painless. The packaging is nice. It comes with everything you need, sharp, minus the sharps container. It comes with the syringes if it's injectable. It comes with the alcohol swabs if it's oral. It comes with, your medication. It'll come with a little card to tell you how to take the medication. It's just very clean as you would expect from a big company like this.
So in regards to the sharps container, you all, that's how you dispose of your needle, your syringe. And it's just a really good idea to put it in a dedicated sharps container. They're usually red, they're marked sharps, and you can get them at a drugstore or on Amazon. Or, honey, is it okay to put it in, say, like a glass bottle, or
Mhm.
is it not
You
okay?
can put it in a milk carton. There's a lot of things. I mean,
Okay.
be careful capping the needle, but you can put the cap back on the
Yeah.
needle and realistically, you can actually throw them away. Um,
Also, today when I was doing my glutathione injection, I was flicking it and to get the little air bubble out, and I was doing this carefully and I'm thinking about, oh, I should do a little video. And then I drop it in the sink. So, in this case, honey, can we use that injection or is it trash?
I would use it. I mean, unless
You
it went
what?
in
I
garbage
threw it away.
disposal.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you have an alcohol swab, just wipe the tip off and you're good to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Go
Well,
dig it out of your trash.
I know
Don't
I
do
was
that.
like,
This
well,
is
I
not
guess I
medical
can't use
advice.
that one.
Well, I mean,
That's not medical advice.
it's
Don't
not
dig your
medical
stuff out of
advice.
the
I'm
trash.
just saying that I would do it.
I mean, probably none of you will ever drop your full syringe. It only takes a very special mind to accomplish
Special.
this activity.
Yeah, she was probably thinking of B-roll if you know her. She was like, "Oh, I should take B-roll."
I was.
Lord have mercy. That's really funny. I actually have also heard one of my friends actually said that if you go to a local fire department, sometimes fire departments actually give away sharps containers. So there's all kinds of, and Walgreens has them.
Yeah, they're
Some people
cheap.
are some people are using old, water
Yeah.
bottles, Powerade bottles, stuff
Oh,
like that.
let's pause, Laura. We have a question about administering your dose. Honey, would you like to answer this? She says, or he says, sorry if I missed this, but if you get the injection, what is the best place to inject them on the body?
Yeah, I was actually just typing a response, but this will be easier. So
Mhm.
the injections are all subcutaneous, so that means they go underneath the skin. And so typically what you're going to do is pinch an inch on your stomach, or it can be on your side, or it can be on your buttocks. I know you can't see me, but you can pinch an inch, do on the side, do the top of the buttocks here, and you just basically pinch a little bit of skin and you clean the skin, put the injection in. It's a tiny little needle and it just has to go under the skin into the subcutaneous fat.
Also, you have to clean the top of your bottle prior to each use.
Yeah. And there's instructions
Yeah,
on the card.
And just read your
I was gonna
instructions.
say I should have put a. I'll do that for the next one.
Yeah.
I should have put a picture of like what
Oh,
it
you should.
what it comes with. But mine came with, like they said, an instruction card where it literally had a picture
Yeah.
of like put it on your arm or your
Yes.
belly or like all those places Rob was mentioning. And the best advice that I actually got from my provider, and again, these are all things that you can ask them too, was to rotate.
Yeah.
And that, sometimes, like doing it in your stomach, for example, can, like make you have less side effects than doing it in your arm or vice versa. So she just said, just play with it, listen to your body, see how you respond, rotate it where it's not the exact same spot every single time. But it totally depends on the person.
Yeah, some of these medications they're taken once a week, like the
Right.
GLPs, Sermorelin, some of the peptides they're taken 5 days a week. So if you inject in the same spot on the right side of your belly button 5 days in a row, you're probably going to have a little sore spot there. So the medication gets absorbed pretty quickly. For people on Sermorelin or any peptides, we have them go right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, and it typically is basically pain-free.
Also,
Yeah. And
honey,
it really is pain free. They're tiny.
yeah, I was going to say the dose amount is different for each person, and it's in units on the little syringe. So make sure that you are crystal clear about what your dose is and that you understand how to read the syringe. And if you don't, you either contact your support or contact one of us. We'd be happy to walk you through it. But it's just important to make sure that you're getting your dose right. And also, if you get a little bruise, what does that mean, honey? Tell them.
Probably means you just hit a tiny little capillary on your way in.
And you need to worry about that?
No.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot easier than I was really psyching myself out on this stuff. I really was. And I'm not really a weenie when it comes to this kind of stuff, but I was nervous and scared. And it was nothing. It was a big fat nothing, and I feel great. So
Do
it's kind
you
of the
want,
story of my life. I was
I was
overthinking it.
wondering it also too, for those of you watching and haven't been doing this, do you want video of us doing the injection or do you feel comfortable just going for it? If you want video, we can do it. But if you don't, then
There's lots of videos on YouTube too.
yep.
Hmm.
Occasionally, a patient of ours will receive their medications and there won't be a card or they won't have instruction or it's after hours or something. And I just tell them all, check out YouTube subcutaneous injection and you'll
We have
find
another
that's
one
what
you
you're looking
need to
for.
unmute, Laura.
Yeah, it's really it really isn't a huge deal at all. And yeah, there's a lot of information. And they do a really good job on the instruction thing of giving you, the literal diagrams of how to do it and specific instructions. Your dosing is going to be very clearly printed on the actual vial itself
Mhm.
and on the vial container it comes with and on all your paperwork and in your portal. It's very clear. There's also directions because, again, I've never done this before. There's, again, another diagram and directions of exactly how like the plunger works and how to put air into it. It's truly written for like fourth grade level. It Really and truly, it's very, very simple. Okay, let's talk about this is my favorite slide because honestly, like this is how I started my health and wellness journey. I did not consider myself healthy before I started the Thrive experience. I mean, again, like I said, I mean, I was 5'4" and I was 199.9 pounds. It's not all about weight, but a large part of my family have weight related health conditions, and I was not going to let myself go down that road as far as I can control it. I'm going to do my part. And so for me, I mean, the Thrive experience, that again, it's the OG, it's the number one best selling kit. We've got a lot of other great kits too, but the classic Thrive experience is still the number one bestseller. Also, it has really yummy shake flavors. I'm just saying, way like a lot of assorted shake flavors. So that's actually the kit that I started with. And I want to give this to Rob and Elise because it's not just about like the energy, the focus. You're going to feel great, you're going to sleep better, be in a happier mood. Yes, it does all of that. But especially if you're on prescription medications such as the weight loss, the GLP, the GIP, Rob and Elise, why don't you guys kind of explain like why is this like how does gut health, hydration, gut mobility, motility, how does that play a part in all this, especially for those of us on the weight loss side of things?
Um, The thing I would say probably is the most important to me is anytime someone is taking, especially the weight loss shots, as we've already mentioned, they're going to curb your appetite pretty significantly. Depending on the dose you're on, whether it's microdose or it's a full dose, you're going to have more or less appetite suppression, which means you're going to be getting less overall nutrients in over the course of the day. Just because you're on this medication doesn't mean that your need for nutrients goes down. You still need, so many grams of proteins, so many grams of carbohydrates and fats. You still need vitamins and minerals. And so I think it becomes harder to get that stuff in when you are not eating as much food. And in my personal opinion, I feel like it is more important than ever if you're doing some sort of a diet or a weight loss medication like this, that you're really prioritizing the food that you do put in your body. Okay. So if you're eating less overall calories and then the stuff you're eating is junk, um, you're really doing your body a disservice and you're going to be burning tissues that you don't want to burn, which is going to be muscle mass. And, you know, I would just say that if you're going to prioritize one thing, prioritize nutrition first. I'll let Elise talk about the gut health benefits.
Well, I feel like if you're on one of the weight loss injections and you're not eating as much and or your GI tract has slowed down a little bit, then it's really important to make sure that you maintain healthy gut flora, and that is your probiotic, which is beneficial bacteria. So what we want to do is add in a probiotic which is very effective at maintaining that natural balance. And biotic is the one that we offer here. It not only does it have a probiotic in it, but there's also prebiotic, which is a form of fiber that probiotics love to consume. And so this is an incredible addition to your protocol. Now, when you're looking at what's on the screen here, I want you to think of this is my foundational nutrition pack. Now, there's an additional product I would add if you have found that your GI tract has slowed down a little bit, and that is balance. And balance is incredible. It has an Ayurvedic herb in it called triphala, and triphala is it's been used for over 5,000 years in Indian medicine, the continent of India. And this probiotic, or sorry, this herb, what it does is crowd out bad bacteria. So when we're changing something about our daily routine, sometimes our gut health will change as a result because our beneficial bacteria can die off. So what I love about these two products, Balance and Biotic, is it is a very gentle gut cleanse. It crowds out fungus known as Candida. It crowds out bad bacteria. It's very effective at keeping your gut healthy, which if we can have a healthy gut, you all, we will be healthier overall. 80% of your immune system starts in the gut. It affects your brain health, your neurotransmitter production, your hormones. Everything can be affected by gut health. So if I'm speaking to you right now and you've been having gut health issues coming up into this, let's get you started with Biotic. and balance. And then, of course, the classic 3 steps has more enzymes in it for helping to digest food, more probiotics, more fiber, of course, vitamins and minerals. And then, absolutely, we cannot go a day without our electrolytes. The electrolytes really help with having a balanced blood sugar because low sodium can actually contribute to hypoglycemia. So, we want to make sure that we're getting our probiotics early in the day. If you have very smoky, very hot weather, then I would drink 2 of those per day. I mean, I do drink 2 of those per day. I love to add them to my Thrive 2.0, which is an alkaline water. And again, the average American diet, people are acidic. So adding in alkaline water is very good because it can help to counteract that too. So these are the products that we're really recommending as people start their journey here with the peptides. And think about in terms of your budget. Okay, I'm reallocating some of that money I was spending at the grocery store on packaged food that was not nourishing my body, right? And probably got me into the place I'm in, right? That I needed to start this. So I'm going to recategorize my budget to include these foundational nutritional supplements that we are recommending today. I would absolutely recommend you guys be on your 3 steps, your electrolytes, your biotic, add in balance if you find that your gut is, if you're not having 1 to 2 bowel movements per day, add balance. Okay?
Yep. And that's probably very enlightening to some of y'all. The last part that she just said, you're probably like, per day? Did she mean like per week? Okay, no, it's per day. That's probably really enlightening to a lot of y'all. And I want to add into, I mean, guess going back to, how afraid I was about all this stuff. I
Mhm.
was really scared, you guys. I was scared that my stomach was going to fall out or that my stomach would be like paralyzed and then my hair would all fall out. And like, I like my hair. And I was really nervous about all these scary things. Um, and looking more and more into it again, like I mentioned, of like a lot of those stem from too high dose, too much improper sourcing, improper handling, all this kind of stuff. A lot of it stems from malnutrition. A
Mhm.
lot of those things that you're hearing stems from malnutrition, and that was not going to happen to me. So, gut health, we're going to keep the gut moving. We're
Yeah.
also going to keep the gut juicy, okay, and hydrated with thirst because that actually matters. We're not going to get constipated up in here because it's going to be going smoothly. And honestly, like filling nutritional gaps. I am in a major calorie deficit, and I'm losing about 2 pounds per week, and I am very close to like I've never weighed this. My weight has never been this low in my entire adult life. And so, as you know, like the lower weight you get, or the closer you get to your ultimate goal weight, the harder it is, to lose weight, the more stubborn that weight becomes. And so, to lose still 1 to 2 pounds every single week now has been pretty phenomenal. But I'm not gonna let myself get
Nourished.
malnourished. Golly. Um, so I'm still getting my protein. I'm still getting my active digestive enzymes and all of the gut health and all the hydration. And I honestly feel like that's why I feel great. Truly. So this is like the bare bones package here.
So
Okay.
that actually, wait, that brings up a quick
Oh,
thing, and I know
okay.
I do want Rob to cover it. I know he answered it in a question, but someone said, "Well, what if we reach our goal weight? What do we do for maintenance,
Yeah,
honey?"
good question.
Yeah, so I don't know because I haven't experienced the GLP side of things through Le-Vel RX. Maybe someone can comment on this if they have experience, or Laura. Did they give you guys any sort of like nutrition coaching, or how to track your calories, your macros, how much you should be working out, anything like that?
Yeah, my provider, this is such a great question. I'm really glad this is on here. So my provider, and again, it's going to depend on the provider. I got really lucky, I feel like, in having a provider that knew her stuff. I mean, it was also really just great because I knew all the answers that she gave me, but it was nice to hear it reiterated. In that she did remind me before I even asked, she was like, listen, you are close to your goal weight. So microdosing is the right option for you. And I asked her, like, should I stop microdosing once I get to my ultimate goal weight? And her answer to me was that was totally your choice. She said there are a lot of her patients that continue to take microdose tirzepatide in the very smallest dose available just for the health benefits of it. They like the lower inflammation. They like being in control over appetite as a maintenance. And she said because of my history that was probably going to be the case for me because I do have something like some screw loose or something, I don't know, going on back there. And she said that was probably going to be the case for me. She also did mention my age. And she said, I really want to make sure that you're doing some weight training, some strength training at least 3 times a week. Are you doing that? And I said, yes. She said, are you lifting heavy? And I said, yes. She's like, are you doing it the heaviest that you can? I was like, probably not. So she did encourage me to do that. I was very happy about that. But like I said, it depends on your provider that you get. If you feel like they're not in alignment with you, or that you might have better luck with a different one, you can request that. The cool thing also is that being a part of the Le-Vel community, you're a part of a community. There are Facebook groups. There's your promoter you can reach out to. They have friends that they have a network they can connect to get you the answers that you need. You have Rob and Elise here that we help really people from all networks with their questions and stuff. And Rob is actually I mean, if you follow him on Instagram and Facebook, he's always doing like workout videos and health tips, and they're geared mostly towards men, but all human bodies need to be lifting and doing all these things. So anyway,
I just attached, Laura,
that answers.
the GLP document we came up with for my GLP. And so it talks about
Yeah.
diet and exercise. So people can find that in the chat here. But yeah, like Laura's saying, if you're on a full dose, you can go down to a maintenance dose or a micro dose. But I always tell people, I mean, use this time that you're on the medications to learn, to teach yourself, podcasts, videos, books, talking to experts, whatever, about what you can do to change your lifestyle so that it is sustainable when you get off these meds. I think, for some people, especially on a microdose, it's okay if they're on them long term. But, personally speaking, I would like to have an off ramp. And I tell all my patients that I want you to have a goal in mind, whether it's body composition or it's weight. And when you get to that point, I would like you to consider coming off and now using the skills you've learned in the meantime, tracking calories, reading, learning about all this stuff to try to, keep the weight off. It's not always possible, but for a lot of people, they're glad to be off the meds. They're glad to have hit their goals, and they're happy to keep pushing forward with their newfound education.
Yeah, and speaking on protein, one of my little life hacks is again talking about that classic pack. There's so many really good shake flavors in the classic pack. I usually have a second shake now every single day as a snack. They're low calorie, and if I'm not hungry, I'm still gonna have a little 100-calorie shake for an extra 15 grams of protein. And I also add in the collagen peptides for another 20 or 22. So for me, an extra 35 grams of protein for like 100, there you go, for like
Easy way to
150
get protein. I'm in a
calories.
hotel room and I bring this stuff everywhere I go.
Yep. I mean, it really is an easy way to get a lot of protein for a very low calorie ratio. So, there's a lot of protein snacks out there. I can't do like the protein bars that taste like a Snicker bar. It's too much like a candy bar. It's a trigger for me. So for me, I'm being mindful, and I'm really proud of myself for being able to be in control like that. That's something brand new to me, and it's worth every dime of having this kind of control. So making those good decisions is something I've honestly just never been able to do for myself, really. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so I think that wraps up our webinar, you guys. Very excited. We had a lot of people on here. Hopefully, you guys got a lot of information, a lot of your questions answered, hopefully. Elise and Rob, do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap it up and get this recording out? I think we'll have a short version of the webinar because we've got that replay, and this will be like the extended version. How about that? Like the director's cut.
Yay.
Any closing thoughts that you guys have?
No?
The only thing I would add is, if you've been waiting to do this stuff, waiting to make a change in your life, to start working out, to start prioritizing your health, to lose weight, don't wait. It gets harder the longer you wait. And I'm not trying to just push product. I really feel like this. I see guys who come into my clinic all the time and they're like, God, I really wish I would have done this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. I mean, you have the chance now in front of you to try this stuff. So take advantage.
Yeah, definitely. And one last plug, please reach out to the person that invited you to this webinar. Ask your questions, get set up with an account, make sure you go through the intake process the right way. Just clue them in that you're going through that process. That way they can make sure you have the best experience possible. And we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to our encore webinar. Thank you, Rob and Elise. I love you guys. And we will see y'all on the next one. Bye, everyone. Have a great night.